impossible shower. I'm going to go into more explanation when I get done with this job, why it was so impossible to make this happen. Even though I made it possible, it's still impossible to make it happen. And it's not a contradiction of terms. But I'm going to get into that in another video, probably toward the end, which arguably I am toward the end, but I'm kind of not. So this is a Monday. I didn't work the weekend mainly because I don't have that tile. So that tile is still on back order, and apparently it's there today. So he's going to go get it. But even if I had that tile, I have to let that dry. So anyway, going back backwards to Friday, I came in anyway because I realized there was some grouting I could do. Obviously, I grouted the inset with black grout that my customer wanted, black grout contrast, which turned out okay. And then I grouted all the walls, and the walls look much better now that they're grouted. And so that got done. That took a couple of hours to make that happen. Black grout is the worst grout to work with, charcoal specifically, because it's like blood, it just gets everywhere. And I just don't like it. If at all possible, I never work with black grout. So it's quite the pain. I actually had to tape off everything, blue tape around it and all that stuff, so I wouldn't accidentally get some of the staining into the marble and stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. Anywho, and then I grouted while I was doing the walls. Let me go ahead and grout all these lines for this border and the skirt. And, turned out pretty good. Everything kind of looks like it flows from the bathroom, which is kind of the point from the very beginning anyway. But I'm still going to get to why this is very impossible to make happen. There's a couple of, how would I put it, not mistakes. There are a couple of things that I wish I did better. I don't know if there's another trade out there that critiques their own work. Maybe it's carpenter, but I think tile guys are their worst critics, because it's like, ooh, I wish I could have done that better. I wish I could have done that better. Sometimes it's a mistake where it's like, oh, okay, well, just let it slide, or the customer lets it slide. And sometimes it's something where we want to do it better, but we can't. So for example, this cut right here at the bottom was supposed to be either two separate pieces or one longer piece, but I could not make that happen because this tile was too brittle. So there had to be a piece in the center, which I tried to center the best I could and make that piece and that piece, symmetrical. If I could have, I would have made that one piece going across. So I don't like that. Will anybody else notice it? Probably not. That this arch is not perfect, that I couldn't make little 1-inch pieces, one, like I couldn't make that happen to where I can make that arch a lot rounder. It's little things like that kind of annoy me. The walls aren't exactly when they floated this ceiling, they're not exactly the same distance going down here as it is over here and all that stuff. And I can't put a tape measure to show you because I can't bend the tape measure twice and then back down again 2 different times. That being said, some of these tile slipped off of the matting. I don't know where they're at now. Yeah, so you got some bigger grout lines going on there and the tile don't quite match up. But when the next sheet got set next to it, and that's what that is, that's just how it landed. Like, there's nothing I could do about that. And then, of course, the next sheet will be much better because it should all line up and all that stuff. It's that little thing and that little thing and just little stuff along the way that is like, ooh, wish I could have done that better. Not that they're mistakes, they're just critiques that we have of our own selves. And as I said, I don't know if there's another trade that does that except maybe carpentry. So anyway, yeah, I'm kind of on the downhill slide, but not really. The next step, of course, everything got left here because of those tile. So those tile are going to be set today before I leave. Let those dry, and then I can wrap my column. Once that wrap of the column goes up, then I can start doing this archway with the smaller 4x6 tile and cut those down to whatever the size that is and make that happen. And then of course hit all this stuff with the penny tile. Then I can finally get to the floor. As I said before, the floor usually goes first, but in this case it had to go last for a lot of different reasons. The least of which is, like, it's a marble tile and I've been stepping on it for, what, 3 weeks now. I think this is day 20. I believe this is day 20, which is crazy just to build a shower. Crazy, crazy, crazy. That's twice what a shower time should take. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna grout the ceiling. And I'm not looking forward to it because half of the grout's gonna end up on the floor. It's just gonna fall out. It's not gonna stick very well. I'm gonna do the best I can to make little messes possible, but I have my drop cloth here that will facilitate all the grout that falls off that I'll be able to reuse and not muck up the grout itself with all the dirt that's on the floor, because I want, you know, good pristine grout. So that's what the drop cloth is for. If I had cardboard, it'd be better, but I don't have the cardboard, so I'm going to use that and get up on the ladder and start doing that. That's going to be about 2 hours. Maybe an hour and a half to make that happen. Then by that time, hopefully my customer has this tile and I can set that tile, and then that's the end of my day. Then tomorrow and into the next day will be all that which I just mentioned, and then the floor, and then the last day will be the grouting of said tile. And then I'm gone. So I have basically, including today, 3 days left. 23 days on one job is absolutely nuts for just a shower. Like, I've done that for a whole bathroom remodel before, but I've never had 23 days specifically just for a shower, which is crazy because most of that time, a good part, half of that time was prep. The prep that I had to make this tileable, right? Because I could not have done what you see here with what was given to me on day one. And you can go back to my channel and go look at those videos from day one. Goes back probably 6 weeks. So that's it. I'll quit yapping and get to work, but I just wanted to share what's going on. And I will, before the end of the day, I will show all that. I will show all that grouting done. It'll look much nicer once all the grout's in there, which tile always does look better grouted. Not quite as bad as I thought it would be. Not quite as bad. It wasn't good. You don't keep your mouth open. You don't talk, you know, like put a mask on. I wear glasses when, you know, it's reading glasses, so I keep my glasses on. You don't want this stuff dropping in your mouth or your eyeballs. So not too bad. And it turned out pretty good. I like how it turned out, although I kind of already knew what it would look like. Some people don't, and that's why I'm showing it. I didn't grout all the way up to the edge of there because that's going to be the next row tile going up. So yeah, I left that alone. But yeah, the curvature of this tile really, really pops now. The curvature pops because of the butting up against the penny tile and then the grout. So that made it look really, really good. So that's about it. All of this I'm gonna let dry. And I think I mentioned on another video with some thin set that had been slopped around. This is much easier to clean up when it's dry than when it's wet. It's like dog poop. If you ever had to clean up some dog poop in the yard, sometimes you make a bigger mess. If you let it dry, then it's less of a mess. So I'm just going to let this dry up for the next hour or so. And then we'll move on to that. And once I get that done, my day is finished after 3 hours. After 3 hours. Tomorrow going to be another 3 hour, another 3 or 4 hour day. Oh, I get to do the floor tomorrow. Maybe not. Maybe I won't do the floor. I'm not sure. Anyway, stay tuned. You'll see. Well, got the grouting done. Did I show this already? I think I showed this already. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I think I did when it was wet. And it's, 3 or 4 hours later now, so it's dried up basically. And it looks okay. It looks okay. Couple of things. I got my 4x4 ceramic. Yay! I can't clap my hands because one of them's holding the camera. My 4x4 that I've been waiting for almost a week finally came in, which made it possible for me to finish the column. Because that tile had to be recessed in first, and the column marble had to go up against it anyway. So the column is done. Basically, for the most part, I think I started on this video talking about 3 days, this being one of them. I'm still on point with that, because now that that's done, I can grout all that stuff tomorrow, and then I can set the rest of the penny tile. No, strike that. So I have to do the inside arch, and I'm not sure how to make that happen. I did butter it to make tile easier to stick to it. And that, when I say buttering, it's thin set. So I have different options. It could be the 4x4 tile, which would be better for me and easier, but it's not going to be as thick as the marble. So I have to do a marble, but I'm not sure if it's going to be small pieces like it's going to be on the top here, or if it's going to be, or if I can get a cut that's kind of an arch, because I have different sizes to work with. I have a 12x24, which is not going to work because it's way too long. I think these are 8x12, so these 8x12 could be scored enough to get 3 or 4 of those in there. I think that's the way I'm going to go, because I tried these, and these are going to go, this is what I was talking about all along. These are going to go on the inside top and be cut off to 5.5 inches, which is what that depth is. So that will be like that all the way across. And as it turns out, it's going to be symmetrical too, which I don't know how I got that lucky, but I did the math, and it's going to be symmetrical. Literally, there are going to be no cuts except the length. This I'm still concerned about, but I think I've already convinced myself that I'm going to have to get some cardboard and do the same thing I did on that curvature in order to cut those. So make myself a template tomorrow, 3 or 4 templates to make that happen. Once that's in, then I can do these, and then I can work on the floor. So that'll be tomorrow and Wednesday. And then grouting all that stuff, and then finally, the impossible shower will be impossibly finished. Possibly finished. Did I say impossibly? It'll be possibly finished. Anyway, I'm out for the day. That's it. That's all I can talk about. Probably tomorrow when I come on camera, since I've talked about how I'm going to make that happen, I'm not going to film anything because it's too much of a hassle. I'm by myself. So I'm just going to do my curvature cuts with this tile, set those up there, do all of those, and then probably do a little filming of showing that finished. And then I'm going to work on the floor if I have enough time. Yeah, I'll just show that after the fact. But anyway, I'm out.